Nobody warned me that becoming a mother in the diaspora would also mean grieving. Not grieving a person, but grieving your village. And if you've ever stood in a quiet kitchen, baby finally asleep, a sink full of dishes, and feeling utterly alone, this video is for you. Stay with me. Hello, and welcome to Mind Motherhood. If you're new here, I'm Anne. I'm a mom of 4, a psychiatrist, a mental well-being advocate and coach. And today, I would like us to talk about one of the most difficult experiences about motherhood in the diaspora, the loss of a village, and more importantly, how we can begin to reclaim it. There is a word that has lived in my heart since childhood: Ubuntu. I am because we are. It is a belief that our humanity is tied to one another, that no person is meant to survive by themselves. And growing up, I saw this lived everywhere. Mothers were held, surrounded, and protected. There was always an aunt available to hold the baby, a grandmother who would be making tea, and a sister who would do the dishes even before you asked, and always someone who would notice that you were exhausted without you having to say so. Motherhood belonged to the community. But I remember one evening, after I had become a mother myself while living in the diaspora, I stood in the kitchen. The children were finally asleep. The house was quiet. My baby had been crying all day, and the sink was still full of dishes. And I remember thinking to myself, how do women manage to do this alone? Because for many of us who are living between cultures, motherhood can start feeling less like Ubuntu, less like we are, but more like I am alone, so I have to carry it all by myself. And that disconnect can have a psychological cost. One of the hardest parts about mothering between two worlds is grieving a support system that still exists somewhere else. Sometimes your family is alive. Sometimes they love you deeply, but they are thousands of miles away. And grief doesn't only happen when people die. Sometimes grief sounds like, I wish someone could hold the baby while I shower. I wish my mother were here. I wish somebody noticed that I'm struggling. Instead, many mothers wake up the next morning and have to continue functioning as if isolation is normal. But emotionally, psychologically, and biologically, it's not normal. As a psychiatrist, I usually explain that human beings are what psychologists call cooperative breeders. This means that we were not designed to raise children in isolation. Our nervous systems were built around shared caregiving, shared emotional regulation, and shared protection. So when mothers ask why they feel anxious all the time, or why they are constantly overwhelmed, or even why they struggle with things that other people can do, sometimes the issue is not personal failure. Sometimes it's just your nervous system responding exactly the way it is supposed to when the tribe disappears. That postpartum anxiety, hypervigilance, or even emotional exhaustion may not be weakness. It may just be your body grieving the absence of collective care. And yet many of us continue performing strength, especially African women, especially Black women, immigrant women. We carry this silent belief that struggling quietly is somehow noble, that asking for help means failing, that exhaustion is proof of love, that survival without support somehow makes us stronger. I remember someone once saying to me, "You manage everything so well." And I smiled, but internally I was exhausted, emotionally exhausted. And I think many mothers know that feeling. Being praised for coping, even when you are privately drowning. In psychology, there's a phenomenon which is known as superwoman schema. This describes women who feel under pressure to continue appearing capable, even when they're internally struggling, and even when they suppress their own emotional needs. And over time, this creates something that a lot of women in the diaspora experience silently: internalized isolation. You become the emotionally reliable one, the strong one, the helper, and the organizer. You are surrounded by people, but emotionally you feel alone. And eventually you stop asking, "Who can help me?" because you've convinced yourself that you don't need any help. But Ubuntu was never about individual perfection. Ubuntu says your humanity is tied to connection, not performance, not productivity, not self-sacrifice, connection. So, how do we claim back Ubuntu in such an individualistic world? I think we can create what I call a modern village. And this is not necessarily the village that we lost, but it's an intentional community. And you can start by changing the emotional culture in your home. Instead of simply asking, "Has the baby slept?" or "What still needs to be done?" you can start asking, "How are we doing?" Because relationships quietly suffer when communication starts becoming purely logistical. But Ubuntu reminds us that emotional connection is an important part of our survival. As mothers, many of us feel guilty receiving support. But support is not laziness. Support is regulation. And if your grandmother cannot physically be here, maybe support can start to look like therapy, getting help with meal preparation, childcare swaps with some people that you trust, becoming part of a faith community or an online support group, or even hiring help where possible. The goal is not proving that you can carry everything alone. The goal is sustaining the we. This week, I would like you to send an honest text. Not just saying that I'm fine, but being honest and admitting that today felt heavy. Because vulnerability is usually the first brick into rebuilding community. This is how villages begin again. One of the most healing things I've learned is that community does not always arrive the way that we expected. Sometimes the village becomes the friend who checks in unexpectedly, the mother at church who notices that you are exhausted and offers to hold your baby, the online community that reminds you that you are not failing and you are not alone, or the partner who finally learns to show up emotionally for you. And maybe healing in the diaspora is not recreating the exact village that we lost. Maybe it's allowing ourselves to build a new one without shame. To the mother listening today who feels isolated, your exhaustion does not mean you are weak. Your overwhelm doesn't mean you are failing. You may simply be carrying a burden that human beings were never meant to carry alone. Ubuntu reminds us, I am because we are. And even here, even across oceans, even in modern motherhood, we can still find our way back to each other. You were never meant to disappear into motherhood. You were meant to be held by it. And if this conversation reached something in you today, don't let it end here. This channel exists because I believe these conversations matter. The conversations about motherhood, about identity, about mental health, and about what it emotionally costs us to survive between two worlds. If you want more conversations like this, subscribe to this channel because I'm building a village here too, and there's room in it for you as well. Drop a comment below to tell me what one thing has helped you while mothering between two worlds. And if someone in your life has become part of your modern village, tag them. Let them know that they matter. I look forward to seeing you again next time. And until then, remember you are not alone. Take a breath and be kind to yourself.